Everybody, this is Judah Music, and I am the Executive Director of the Community Impact Fund. The Community Impact Fund is a 501c3 public charity that helps organizations meet needs within their own community so that they can maximize their impact. This presentation, we're going to talk about how credit unions have a really unique strategy to actually do well in business by doing good in their community, as long as they have the proven model in which we're going to talk about. So to start with, we believe that community impact, corporate social responsibility, impact investing is the biggest trend in business worldwide. One of the reasons we know that, besides talking to the top consultants in business schools around the world, is simply looking at the number of jobs in the market for things like corporate social responsibility. As of a couple of weeks ago, there was 28,625 jobs with the title of corporate social responsibility in the title of the job description. ESG, there are 6,000 jobs. Impact investing, 16,000, and community impact, 478,000 jobs. So this is a trend that is only getting bigger, and that is one of the keys to how credit unions can capitalize on this opportunity. But what does it mean to do well in business is the first question that we got to ask. It's really simple for us, and it kind of boils down to the key drivers of your company's success metrics. And so for us, we just look at what we call the 5 R's. Revenue. For a credit union like yours, it's about revenue growth. It's about member growth, deposit growth, and loan growth, all working together to drive the growth of the credit union. It's about your reputation in the market as solving real problems at a root level. It's about your ability to recruit and retain top talent in the credit union, but also recruit and retain members. It's about your relationships and how you coexist in your community with other businesses. So that's pretty straightforward. On the doing good side of the column, it gets a little bit more fuzzy. Typically what we see companies is looking at lists of causes or goals, in this case, the Sustainable Development Goals that have been put out by the UN, and picking goals based on what they think sounds good or resonates with their value chain. In other words, if you're a grocery store, you're going to pick things like zero hunger and zero waste. And it just feels like the right type of problems that we should be solving. And then what happens is one of two things. We typically see volunteerism and philanthropy. So, getting people to go volunteer at nonprofits, working on these problems, and then writing the cardboard checks that go out to help support nonprofits also doing the work. And while so far nothing inherently is wrong with this strategy, it's certainly not very strategic. And here's why. Most companies have no idea how badly the lack of financial well-being is hurting their own business. In other words, these exact causes, zero hunger, zero waste, health and well-being, quality education, affordable housing, poverty, are showing up right inside the value chain of the organizations that are doing the giving and the volunteering. And, there's an analogy. You wouldn't try to feed someone's kids in Africa knowing that they're going hungry if your own kids at home are also going hungry. You're going to take care of those closest to you. So why do employers feel like giving outside of their organization is what needs to be done when these problems exist right from within? That's the question we wrestle with. And honestly, we just believe that most employers don't even know how bad the problem is or the fact that it exists within their organization. But we know, and we'd love to share that data with them. And obviously, we're sharing it with you now. So one of the first places we look is this idea of ALICE. ALICE is an acronym that was created by the United Way, and it stands for Asset Limited. In other words, no emergency fund, and income constrained. In other words, I can't fix these problems by ramping up my income, but I'm employed, I'm loyal, I'm a hardworking American worker. And in 2018, the last time the full census data was researched this way, it was 35 million American households, representing 42% of every household in America was ALICE. We have this data. We believe it's America's biggest problem, and we can drill down into any county that you're operating in and show you and employers in your community exactly what these numbers look like. And it's a real persona. It's your employees, it's your members, it's your neighbors. The persona for ALICE is, having negative cash flow. So paycheck to paycheck is the best case scenario in this. What we're talking about here is literally negative cash flow. struggling to meet basic needs, have little to no liquidity or emergency fund, pay 25% of your income servicing high interest consumer debt, not including a mortgage, paying late and overdraft fees monthly, not able to save for the future in a retirement plan. In fact, a quarter of all plan participants have a loan on their own retirement today. And these people are just trying to survive. When we try to get down to a little deeper level about what we call the root, what we'll see here is that all the causes that most organizations are throwing money at or time at are actually just symptoms of a broken household budget. In other words, affordable housing is not the root issue. Either it's childcare, food insecurity, transportation, or even healthcare. Those are all line items in a household budget. The root problem is the lack of financial well-being within the household. The negative cash flow, too much consumer debt, these fees, this high interest is crushing these families, putting them into bondage. And that's the root problem. The rest are symptoms. So we're never going to solve a big world problem by throwing time and money at symptoms. That's just the reality. And in fact, it's worse than that. When we do throw time and money at symptoms and we don't solve these problems to the very people that show up to work with us, we create a gap or a divide. And so what this means is we can't say one thing so important to us that we're going to donate a lot of time and money and not solve those problems even to the people who show up to work with us. A real practical example is Kroger, the grocery store, recently donated $100 million to Feeding America, the national network of food banks. And while that's a great organization, they're claiming that zero hunger is their goal, and we're going to solve it by writing a check to a national food bank network. Well, in reality, a very large percentage, over 50% of their own employees are what? Food insecure. And so when they see that much money being donated and yet they still are struggling to put milk on the table, it creates a disenchantment or disengagement with the strategy. And that costs the business a lot of money. On top of that, the benefits need to be looked at. You can't say you have the best benefits and not address these problems. So no amount of profit sharing or retirement plan matching or 529 or health insurance solves for these problems of cash flow, liquidity, student debt, and paying bills. And so the same thing happens here where employees are not so sure about your strategy when we're saying one thing and doing another. This is the most expensive problem that any business has, whether you're for-profit, not-for-profit, or government. We can now quantify the cost of the lack of financial well-being or financial scarcity onto the P&L, and it shows up in almost every single line item. You got the obvious ones of HR-related items of engagement, turnover, recruiting, but the not so obvious, it shows up in the cost of healthcare or employees who age and their cost of healthcare goes up. The correlation to safety and even your ability to tell a good story in the marketplace from your sales and marketing perspective. So we believe this is where your credit union comes in as the hero of this story. Credit unions were made to impact in this way. You have 4 reasons why this is the case, and no other business on the planet has these combination of 4. You have the unique history of members coming together to help each other, people helping people, because why? Because they had a financial problem. And for them, the solution was a credit union. We got to get back to that. You have the tax status, and what that allows us to do is not-for-profit financial institutions. We have the products that are required in the market to solve the problem, the lending, the savings products. And then most importantly, we have this shared why, a shared vision and mission around financial well-being for all. So we were made to do this. What if we were able to come together with a common agenda of financial well-being for all, put a shared measurement system in place for our community to see how well we're doing, had mutually reinforcing activities around impact lending and savings and debt elimination, and then we communicated that well to the world through significant leadership. That is a vision of collective impact and where credit unions can literally dominate over traditional or community banks. So here's the formula. Take your desire to have an impact, and I don't care what you call it, ESG, CSR, philanthropy, etc., and combine that with your benefits to your employees, to your members, and to the community. And when you direct that effort to solving their problems, and being slightly selfish about how you solve problems because you want to solve a problem at a root. And we believe that just throwing money at big global problems is never going to put a dent in that picture. So solving these problems for your employees, for your members, for other businesses, for other nonprofits, and ultimately they are your community. That is the vision. One way that we're excited about credit unions being able to do this is through what is called charitable donation accounts. Charitable donation account allows your credit union to invest in otherwise unpermissible investments up to 5% of your total net worth. That amount of money can be invested into almost any type of asset class that we want, as long as 51% of the earnings on that investment is donated to a 501c3 charity at least every 5 years. So what we're talking about here is being able to double, even triple the yield on your cash from traditional, CDs, bonds, and money market returns of 1, maybe 2%, up to a very conservative 4, 5, 6%, depending on the markets and which products that we put that investment in. So in one case, your traditional investment, let's just use a round number, $5 million, would yield the credit union about $50,000 a year in increased income. Not too bad, but not great. With a CDA, just going from 1% to 4%, we're going to double your yield. It's going to go from $50,000 to $98,000 in return. But in addition to that, $102,000 is going to be generated as charitable giving for the needs of your community. Well, why stop there? Why just pick random charities and start giving to problems in the community with all that we just talked about? What if you're able to compound those dollars into a strategy that helps create financial well-being and helps grow the credit union at the same time? And that's exactly what we do. We pair a community impact fund with your charitable donation account, and that $102,000 in this example can compound by making interest-free loans to the very people that you care about as a way to create financial well-being. We call these impact loans. They are interest-free loans with a flexible payback that helps people start saving for emergencies at your credit union. Here's the value proposition. We already said it. Interest-free, zero fees, guaranteed forever. Flexible payback so that you can manage cash flow, you can move your payment date, you can even skip a pay. And incentivize 10% of every dollar that you repay on these loans becomes a savings incentive or a match. Think of it like a match on your 401k plan that's actually incentivizing you to start building liquidity. On top of that, it's anonymous, so it protects your dignity. It's instant, so we can compete with payday lenders by solving problems quickly. It's sustainable. With a 2% default rate, that means 98% of the dollars are coming back in and compounding on each other year after year. And then we crowdfund generosity through others in your community who also want to partner with you. So we did this research through 2 years of me leading innovation for a credit union in Colorado, followed by working with CUNA, the Financial Wellbeing Committee, working with Callahan and Associates and their top clients, and deciding that the best way for credit unions to really move the needle on these important issues is, one, to innovate faster, but innovate outside of the core regulated environment of the credit union. So that's what we're doing. We're doing this in the charitable realm. And two is to really tie our impact strategy, our ability to do good in the community, to our business model. And that's exactly what we did here. As a service to the credit union, we and my team, the Community Impact Fund, does this program as a complete turnkey, done-for-you process. We handle all the administration, the marketing, the advertising, the reporting, and we even help you tell the story. So at the end of the day, it's about having life transformational impact in your community and then being able to tell that story so that others start to understand why your credit union is so unique. Here's the Venn diagram. It takes technology to do this. It's fast. It's, very data informed decisioning that we do. It takes a story that resonates in your community with other businesses, schools, fire departments, hospitals, and nonprofits. And then it takes your products from the credit union to really drive this home. So at the end of the day, it's very simple. We care what you care about. We are from the credit union industry, and we're innovating on results that matter, both on your business and for your community. And that's the sweet spot where we can truly sit back and say, wow, we actually did well in business by doing good. So thank you very much. My contact information here is here. I would love to chat with you about these strategies. Judah@communityimpactfund.org is my email. And then check out our website. There's a lot of information at communityimpactfund.org. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully we'll talk soon.